What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Gambling Lab, brought to you by Bogey Proof. Coming off a hot week at the Waste Management Phoenix Open. Absolutely electric tournament this weekend. Everything going on there between the beers, the shirts coming off, the golf course itself,
All in
the finish,
ones.
the playoff. I mean, just fucking nailed it this week out in Scottsdale. A lot of fun. But we're on to Riviera, which might be just as good of an event as any on the PGA Tour. Probably the best golf course. It's a non-major, and Tiger will be on site this week, so we get to look forward to that. And yeah, it's a big week at Riv, and let's not waste any time. Let's get right into TJ weather report, and then we'll get into our pricing on DFS and guys we like this week.
We got back-to-back weeks, Fontaine, of great weather. I'm seeing sunny without a single cloud in the sky. Let's sure as hell hope it's like that. Great views. We got these weird trees that we can see. It's going to be awesome. Looks like 71, 74 on Thursday, Friday, 73, a little bit colder on Sunday, 67. But, I mean, hey, we're talking about California. Beautiful time of year. Great for this type of tournament.
Looking forward to it. Honestly, it's perfect. We don't need any crazy weather situations taken away from the tournament or softening the golf course. Keep it dry, keep it firm, keep it fast, and because that's part of why Waste Management is so sick too. Like, finally got a golf course play a little firm and fast out there for these guys, and it just makes golf so much more fun to watch when the ball's on the ground and rolling, and it's like builds up the moment and all that fun stuff. But without further ado, I mean, star-studded field this week, boys. We got all 10 of the top 10 players in the official World Golf Rankings playing for the first time in this tournament's history for sure, and probably the first time this year, right? I mean, can't think of anywhere else where we had all these guys kind of come together. So probably the only time it's going to happen until the Masters too. So big field this week. Obviously, being an invitational, you always get kind of the better draws with the field and whatnot. But who we eyeing early as guys to circle this week? Not named John Rahm and Patrick Cantlay, maybe.
I completely agree with you.
This is a warm up. I love this event every year because this is definitely a warm up to get the bloods flowing for the majors. Because this is what it's supposed to look like. Not that shit last week. Like it was a great tournament, but the field strength is low. We're back. We're back with some. You got to make some decisions, make some plays. You look at the top, man. Yeah, TJ was mentioned a little bit beforehand that JT can be a little shaky on skinnier courses. Right off the bat, the first guy I'm looking at, Colin Morikawa. I think super due. Tons of fairways. Just been playing great. That's who I'm eyeing right off the bat.
Yeah, I mean, you get a course that says hit your irons really well. It's hard not to circle him.
Yeah,
it really is. I don't want people to sleep on Rory. We haven't seen him a little bit, but especially if you're looking at DFS pricing, 9,700. I do not like seeing Rory anywhere below 10. That's where I jump on him, kind of like when you see JT drop down a little bit. So he sticks off the bat. Scotty. So what did I see today? I saw like Thigala, Scotty Scheffler, and Willie Z. Have played here and they won some amateur. I forgot. Help me out here. If you know what it is.
Invitational that
that's it.
Like, the top. It's like I think like literally the best player from each school is nominated by their coach essentially, goes and plays in this thing, and then for 20, 40 schools, whatever it is, and the winner gets a sponsors exemption essentially into the field. But
a couple of things with that. One, they've played here and have proven to win here. Number two, I like those guys. So for my lineups this week, watch out for having a couple of those guys sprinkled in throughout.
Willie Z, didn't you say Willie Z?
Yeah.
You said Willie Z in top 20 last year here.
And all three of those guys.
Willie Z.
All three of those guys also some pretty decent form going into it. So
yeah, all three of them. Scotty especially, man. Scotty looks great. Scotty's games look awesome. Maybe he's a great player. We knew that last year, right? Mm-hmm. He looked like he was having a little bit of a coming out party. He's such a consistent golfer. It's amazing. Yeah. Like he just he doesn't do stupid shit like my boy Victor Hovland. But it's Scotty's super balanced. I mean, approach is going to be tough because you're going to have to find value because you're going to need guys at the top, right? This is a course where it's going to require you have some talent in your lineups. So being able to find guys at the bottom is going to be a challenge. But this is what it's like in the majors. Like I said, we're getting warmed up.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you want to throw a shot at a guy down towards the bottom, and we're talking about course history and playing here, I mean, Doc Redman won the USAM here I forget what year it was. So I mean, he's played. I mean, gosh,
sold.
That's 4 or
like
5 rounds.
it's like 7 competitive rounds at this course. So I know Doug Gim, I think, was runner-up maybe that year. I think he so both. I know Redmond's field. I don't know about.
I feel like this is such a popular course. Like they just play this course at all levels.
Both of them, I'm sure
Gim's
they're
in here. I'm pretty sure.
like 6,000s. Like I'm sure there's value there if you think about it for either one of them.
Is. Ricky Fowler's down in the 6,000s. So you want to go grab him? Feel free.
Good luck. Dude, this is just—it's one of those courses where it's like it's less of a horse for a course and more like who's going to execute this week. Like, there's not a lot of room for error around here. Like, I think I saw probably Justin Ray. I don't know, it was a Twitter stat, so it's probably him. Where it's like this course has the least percentage of greens hit in regulation for the field on average in the last like 2 years. So one, that means like obviously super demanding iron play because it's like the way it's carved into the hills and the fairways are usually never flat, like just and they're small and firm, right? Like tough to hit a lot of greens. So you need to have like elite iron play, but also like at some point you're gonna have to get up and down a few times to keep momentum going. So like a stat I'm like keeping an eye on or like something I'm keeping in the back of my mind while I'm making these lineups is like who's got like the hands around the greens. It's like or like the good putter that's going to make a lot of 10 footers or 8 footers, whatever. Like
fast greens too, they're hard.
You need somebody like that's going to like keep their rounds together and on their bad day shoot 72 and not 76, right? Like that's the kind of player you're looking for. Like Max Homa putted the shit out of the ball last year, showed a little creativity around the greens, made some good up and downs to keep it going when he wasn't hitting his irons really well, which is like what ultimately got him there. But like he like when he missed something, he made up for it and didn't make it a double, right? Like you got to find guys with the good short games that are going to like minimize damage and like have some serious damage control around this place just due to the difficulty of it. I think it was the highest ranking like or the hardest to hit greens in reg versus the only ones that beat it were Winged Foot, which was the U.S. Open, and then Kiowa, which was the PGA, right? So, like, by far out for regular season tournaments, the hardest one to hit greens.
If you want a guy on that theme, a guy who can keep it together, a guy with a good short game, a guy who's had success here, my boy Cam Smith, baby. He's he puts the lights out of it, and definitely can keep it together on the greens. The greens are tough too. Aren't they like known to be like super fast here and stuff?
Yeah,
also?
so
it's like it's just like it's a great point. I mean, finding some guys who, and this is what it comes where you start watching those other tournaments and you start to realize like, okay, who's putting and who's not, and like, you got to be able to figure out guys that can kind of keep it together, right? And Cam Smith's a really good player, and he's 9,100, and that's not enough. Like, I don't know. He's just getting weighted down significantly because of the top heaviness of the field. Like, he's a really, really good player. I mean, he went, balls to the wall with DJ, and was that the Masters?
That was Rom.
Oh, whatever it was. Either way.
But he could take
Yeah, for sure. He likes to play up the competition also, which I've noticed.
He's a big game hunter, dude. He's one of those guys, guys like Louis, like a few guys that like they don't really like walk around and play a shit ton of tournaments on the PGA Tour. Like they hit the majors, they hit the WGCs, and they hit like the invitationals and shit like this because they like still have homes abroad. Like I think he still's got a place somewhere in Australia. Like, I mean, he's in Florida probably 85% of the year, but and like Louis too, like South Africa, right? Like these guys just play like international schedules, but like they're big game hunters. Like they don't just play a tournament to play a tournament. Like they're coming out like with their best. Where you see some of the other guys on the PGA Tour that don't have the status that those guys have or the success, like playing every week, whatever. Like just a little bit of a different mindset for those guys. But you mentioned like a guy like Cam Smith being down at 9,100 when I think at the Sony he was like 10-5, right? Like top heavy field, which means you got to go kind of like high low this week or whatever that like studs and duds I think we usually call it, right? One of those weeks where you got to find the less than 7,000 guys. And a guy that just grabbed like my attention, our guy KH Lee, dude, like 7 out of 8 cut, 6,900, and he's like a shitty Sunday at the American Express away from like all top 40 finishes this year. Like super solid, a bunch of like one shitty Sunday in there, and everything else other than that is like looks like par or better. 74 last week. But either way, like looks like super solid stuff, and like he took it deep. I think was first round leader at weight last week. Like it's a guy that like I'm seeing a little bit of consistency there, and like we're in that something that starts with a 6 to offset your John Rahm, Cantlay, Jordan, Willie Z, JT, whoever you go and spend 10 grand on this weekend. So someone to keep an eye on. I think that's in that kind of price range that you're going to need to. Unfortunately, I've probably a couple guys of this week.
You're going to see those guys around that range too. I mean, you can keep riding hot hands. The guys like Tom Hoagie, the guys like Luke List, the guys like, I love Lanto Griffin again this week. TJ, another fairway finder, great tee green player. This course is Lanto City, so definitely like Lanto. I would probably not go with the boy Sahith this week. I think he's just coming off too much of a high, and you're going to see a dud off Sahith. That's just classic. But aside from that, I mean, don't we talk about Bezadenhout a lot too?
Bezadenhout at 72 is very good.
There's a lot of guys. I mean, you could just find some. If you've been watching, like there are a lot of guys who have been playing really good golf. Just pick those guys and hope for the best. Like there you go. You pick the guys who have done pretty well all year and hope they just keep doing that. And then pick anyone you want at the top. The guys we talked about.
One last guy I got down below that I just want to give a shout out to that has had a sneaky decent start to the year here with like 4 top 25s I'm seeing here and like 7 starts. I guess 11 if you go back to like that fall season crap. JJ Spawn, 16th at the Pebble Beach, 25th American Express, 16th RSM Classic. Like, I don't know. I mean, 6,400. I'm not expecting him to, be on the leaderboard on Sunday, but like, you can make a cut for me at 6,400. I'll take that value all day.
Yeah. I mean, he only missed the Sony Open, and he was still 2 under. So it wasn't like he was completely out of the way. One guy I got to make sure I throw some light on. You get to a point where if you don't have him in your lineup, he's just extremely valuable, especially at 7,600. Paul Casey, and I absolutely hate picking him. I just can never figure him out. So I stay away from him as much as possible. But I'm going to jump on the train this year and starting this tournament to say that because we're getting close to the Masters, we're about less than 6 weeks away. So where Paul Casey kind of like picks it up and gets some steam, 7,600, great price. I'm loving that. And Pat Kazar.
Any side action you want on Paul Casey, you take it with me.
I will do side action. That's how much I absolutely hit him.
Whatever you think he's going to do, I got the opposite.
I'm just saying there's going to be a start. But Pat Kazar finished well at Waste Management. So for a good 6,000 play, 6,800 he is. Pat Kazar, not bad.
Fontaine, is this the lowest we've ever seen Patrick Reed?
I literally just was scrolling around and saw him. Yeah.
Way down there. Holy
Until he gets a new driver.
I'm still not going to pick him. It's unbelievable. Like, no. Absolutely not.
So that's the lineup that I picked.
I got one guy for you guys, and you're going to have no idea who he is. And I'm just going to say big trust. He's 6,200. His name is David Lipsky. All right? Just keep an eye on David Lipsky for me. All right? That's all I got to say. He gets me a top 30. We're getting Dom Perignon, but
we're monitoring the Lipsky situation.
David Lipsky, okay, just
ride the hot hand.
Sneaky cut maker. Okay,
sneaky cut maker. That's what we need.
Go find him. It's 6,200. He makes a cut, Paul. I'll FaceTime you crying. I'm not even kidding.
If you're gonna pick him, don't forget about our boy Vincent. So Vincent, you'll be
Vincent
in the lineup.
Didn't he change his name to Vince or something?
Yeah,
Vince on the thing.
He's out, dude. Vincent's out.
Yeah.
Gone. Yeah,
we're quickly off the.
We got off the train. We got off at 38.
Like if Scotty Scheffler becomes Scott Scheffler, I'm off.
Gone. No, seriously.
Don't try to be better than where you came from. All right, stick to what you know.
Right. Absolutely.
Down
Bob Watson
we're talking about with Lipsky.
Yeah.
Wyndham Clark.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wyndham Clark, man. He was in the field last week. He was terrible.
He got bounced.
It's a bounce back weekend. 8 out of 10 cuts.
Wyndham Clark's price tag is like a penny stock. It literally goes shoo, 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 shoo. Like it's crazy. It's unbelievable. Yeah, dude. There's definitely some flyers. I can't end this podcast though without mentioning my boy Thomas Peters. Love Thomas Peters. Great form this year. 7,400. Look at the form in Saudi. The first tournament he played, I think he entered some JUCO tournament or something. We're not counting that one. But the two after that, he won and came in 12th. Great form, just stud when he plays good and stud or terrible when he doesn't. Flyer for sure, but he's a hot hand guy. And, we've seen him at 8,900, 9,000 before on this podcast. I know for a fact. So, he's one of those guys. It's a little sprink, but put him into DK, man. Just one,
Something to think about.
Please.
But
him and Lipsky, put them together.
I got one more guy, but I'm going to save him for my bank account plays, and I think it's time we transition there. Unless anybody has any other broad statements on the field or anything else going on this week at Riv. All right,
we're good.
Bank account plays of the week. TJ, you kicked us off last week, and you went 2 for 2. I think we should stick with that order.
Yeah.
Lead us off.
Bank account play of the week for me. Willie Z, top 20 at plus 105. And then, what was it? Go ahead. Take on the next one.
Oh, boy. All right.
I got to find out what this one was. Oh, that's what it was. Sorry. Francesco Molinari. Top 40 plus 140.
You son of a bitch. That was my guy.
Wow.
Dude, he's a member at Riv, and he's finished 6th there last year. Like, decent start to the year. Like, I think he's finally not injured after, like, he went, kind of bonkers for, like, 6 months back in, like, 2018 and 19 in the Ryder Cup, all that shit. And he's finally shown halfway decent form. 6th year last year, member. I was going to top 20 him for my fucking bank.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, Tiger killed him. He's dead.
That might be lunch
Tiger
money.
killed him.
Tiger certainly murdered him when it comes to a major championship ever again.
His heart.
But he could fuck around and hang around at Riv, I think, for a little bit.
Yeah, that's an interesting pick, boys. Interesting stuff. Well, that's a combo bank account play, so I'm sprinking top 20 on that. But if we're sticking to the old format that worked last week, we did a little top 10, top 20. Top 10, I truly don't see how Colin Morikawa doesn't come in the top 10. Don't see how that doesn't happen. So that's what it's going to be for top 10. Top 20, this might be a 401k play, is the boy Cam Smith. We're leaving it right there.
I like it.
That might be a flat out, I might take out a loan. Like, that's a loan play. I know we use this terminology.
That's a loan.
The 401k play from last week was brilliant. So I'm gonna take that from you, Fontaine. We're gonna do Cam Smith top 20.
I like it.
Stamp
so top 10 Morikawa, top 20 Smith.
Cheers.
Wow. I've been struggling with the bank account plays.
Paul, you're too addicted to the odds. You're too addicted to the value. You got.
And we're talking value again.
Oh boy.
Going back to the well with my boy Hoagie.
Who?
Top 10 Hoagie.
Oh, top 10 Hoagie.
I love Hoagie this week too.
Plus 750.
Wow.
What has Hoagie shown to
you're doubling your bank account there?
Hoagie's played great. Yeah.
Great.
Hoagie's had a great start to the year. I mean, I don't see why that couldn't happen. But Paul,
I got a couple others, lunch money plays here. The Big Tone first round leader, 50-1 to win. The Big Tone Finau again, 42-1. Love it. Wow. And I also got Spieth to win, 40-1.
I mean, you got to have action on Spieth because there's no better ride than the Sunday ride with Jordan Spieth.
He's a roller coaster. He's played well.
He'll make you love golf.
Finish then awful the next week. Great. Next week awful. And so now we're bouncing back off of a bad week in Phoenix.
Trends.
Great week in Riv. I'm feeling it.
Right week in Riv. That is funny. He has gone like good shit. But the good was at the Pro-Am. Okay, let's suffice that for sure. But
hey, Paul, I followed you with the little lunch money play. I had one of my own this week. Willie Z to have 0 bogeys in round 1 plus 1,100.
Ooh.
Oh,
Look at you finding rogue odds. Like
I absolutely love that. I told you in the beginning, I absolutely love some of those guys that played it. Willie Z for me is the guy.
You better hope he hits every green and reg and never has a 4-footer.
I'm not watching a single part of round 1.
That's
I'm
when
just
you
tuning
like
out
set
at
it
the end.
and forget it.
So,
all right, I'll take us home here. Fuck. So I was gonna do top 20 Francesco, but I'll let TJ ride the Francesco train this week. We don't need to double down on bank account plays. I'm gonna go top 10 Willie Z. I think, like you said, top 20 last year. Took a little break with the COVID thing after Torrey Pines and ball striker's paradise. The kid hits the ball pretty fucking good. So I'm gonna ride him my top 10. I'm gonna go top 20. I'm going to go Sam Burns. He played here really, really well, I think 2 years ago, but Adam Scott ended up beating him or something like that. He just picks weeks. Like, it seems like ball striking is like not a question for him. It's like wedge play and like kind of the intricacies and like the delicateness of golf, and like he can just go out there and just hit the ball hard and hit it on the greens and like kind of figure it out. Like, I'll ride with Sam Burns this week for my top 20. And then my lunch money play, like, I'm going Rory to win, little lunch money action. Like, you never get Rory 22-1. Last time he was more than 20-1.
The books have finally priced him right. So
the last time he was anything above 20-1 was his last 2 wins at Quill Hollow and at the CJ Cup. Again, Twitter stat. They're not always, they don't always predict the future, but last 2 times he had worse than 20-1 odds, he ended up winning the event. So that's enough for me to throw a little lunch money on it.
Sprink. Oh, that sounds like
it's just like
play.
Homer for Rory McIlroy. I'm always going to pull for him. So
my
I'll
lunch
kick
money
myself in the ass if he wins and I don't bet on him. So
if you could find David Lipsky to make the cut, please. Just that's it.
Let's all
nothing
ride
else.
for David Lipsky this week.
I think he can do that. No,
David Lipsky to make the cut if you can find it. DraftKings has been a real pain in my ass lately. The app is just brutal, but just doesn't open. But boys, I love where we're at. I think we're winning more money this week. What do we think? I mean, come on, TJ. We need to run that back.
I think we're ready. Bank account plays, came
Keith
back
Mitchell,
above 500 last week.
Easy.
I think we're ready to fucking ride that train again and start putting some
Well,
money
he's about to heat up.
Of the good old bogey-proof followers. Well, the thing with Paul, and like Paul's going for value here. So like when he hits, he covers 4 weeks of losses because it's all plus 500 or better.
He will.
He's having Alaskan king crab for lunch.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm going to spring Cam Smith to win too. I think actually. Also.
Yeah, double down on it.
I'm going to add that in last second. I think Colin to win, there's probably not enough value there, and if he could easily just not, but with Cam, there's definitely going to be. Cam Smith is plus 220, 22-1 as well to win, so that's getting sprinked.
That's my sweet
spot. Morikawa at 18-1 though, so that too, sprink probably.
Sprinks, just sprinks all around. Lunch money.
Yeah, we're going to sprink those two to win also. Why not?
All right, gentlemen. Well, always a pleasure talking. Riv Week's a big one.
Great week, dude.
Great pairings. We're doing this Tuesday night instead of Monday, so we have little pairings that we could take a look at this week. Good groups this week, like 3 or 4 like studs that I'm looking forward to finding on ESPN Plus.
Who's Ron playing with?
Morning, whatever.
Do we know? Or
Rom is with, I think it's like Rom, Hovland, and somebody else. But Rom and Hovland is good enough for me. I forget.
Yeah, it's good enough for me.
But
for sure.
All right, gents. Bank account plays of the week are locked in. A little 401k play in there. Plenty of lunch money options.
Great week last week. Ride the hot hand.
Cheers.
Cheers. Good luck.
Fucking cool, baby.